Good day, everybody, and welcome back to the flight deck. We are sitting here in Springfield, Illinois, capital of Illinois. Today we're continuing our tour of the contiguous United States capitals. That's the lower 48. And we're heading from here down to Jefferson City, which is the capital city of the great state of Missouri, or Missouri, as they tend to say. So we're going to be heading southwest. It's about 140 miles, and today's flight time in this old DC-3 is going to be just over an hour and 10 minutes or so. Flight hungry, yes, we are in multiplayer. My streams on Wednesdays and Sundays are done in multiplayer on the Northern Europe server, and Mondays, Tuesdays, Fridays, Saturdays are done in VATSIM, just to allow people who are not comfortable with VATSIM to come along and fly along if they want a little bit more relaxed environment. So we're going to pop over here, Northern Europe. I think I mentioned that. We are currently waiting on Kevin, who's having a little bit of issues, but we'll see if he can get himself in and going today. Liam, First Officer Molly is pretty good. She's asleep behind me on the floor at the moment. We went out yesterday up to a friend's, a guy I used to work with, and we went up, met his family, the kids and everything like that, and I think the kids wore her out. She's been quiet all day long, sleeping. So I think she's recovering from her day with a 3-year-old and then a 1-year-old chasing her around. Anyway, let's hop on board DC-3 and get her up and going. As always, this is the Asobo DC-3, but with the Duckworks mod in it, which makes it a much nicer aircraft to fly. So we've done our external walk around. We're just going to make sure everything is set and ready to go inside the cockpit. We can come down now, hook up to the battery cart. We can hear the fans starting to come online as the aircraft starts to power up. I do like this airplane. It is a lot of fun to fly, especially the gyro pilot helps stabilize it slightly, so it's not too much of a handful, but it is good. And the gyro pilot plane, yeah, it's pretty good. It does work, and it does help a lot. All right, so let's get the aircraft ready to go. Everyone is on board, so we can get the back doors all shut and closed. Pan Am in the DC-3, no, but we did a flight and Kevin was there. We did a around the world flight. We recreated the 1950s Pan Am around the world itinerary. You can see the live streams are on the channel. In the DC-6, and we were flying Pan Am colors on that one. That was pretty cool. All right, so let's get the position lights on outside. We'll get the beacon lights up as well. That's all good along the top. Don't need the pitot heats yet. I'll come over here to the mags, and forgot to make a change. Let me just quickly pop into my controls. I got to change this over because I don't want my my yoke controlling my mag switches. Much better. The DC-6 from PMDG, yeah, that was the one. You said you were and of course it's not going to be showing me the tags. I did have them on, but I'm not seeing anyone. Great. Multiplayer bug strikes again. Anyway, we'll leave that on. Hopefully everyone will pop in shortly. Smudge is aboard. Excellent. Alright, so we are pretty much good to go. So we're going to start up the right engine first. So we're going to turn the mags on. We're going to come down to the fuel. And we're going select the main tank on the right side. That is now done. Turn on the boost pumps. Oh, you're not spawned in yet? Okay. Alright, that's cool. Zola herder. Who's Zola? Let's get the generators on as well. We're all good there. We'll open up the window so we can hear the engine start. Alright, we're good with everything there. We're going to energize on the right side. That's spinning up the flywheel inside the engine cowling that's attached to the engine, and that momentum from the flywheel is what will crank the engine over when we mesh and hopefully start her up. Alright, so mixers to auto rich. No, not that one. And propeller is fully forward. Throttle is cracked. Flywheel is up to speed, so we're going to mesh and hit the primer. Oh, your brother's dog. Oh, that's too bad. Hope she recovers quickly. Alright, we did not get a good start there. Probably because did I forget anything? Fuel is on with the fuel pump. We're on the fuel tank. What is going on with that? I turned the boost pump off for a second. Let me just scroll over and make sure. Yeah, fuel is on the right main. Mixture is in auto rich. Prop is fully forward. Throttle is cracked. It should be. Sometimes it catches me out. Mags are on. Generators are on. Fuel pump is on. Let's try it again. Meshing. Mags are on both. There's fuel coming up. Yeah, but shouldn't stop it. But I'll switch those to open. Sounds good. So we'll hit the starter and the primer. There we go. Got the rattle of the radial engine. A little bit of smoke coming out, which is all good. Alright, so she's up and running now. Looking good. So we can get the other engine up. See, it shouldn't matter where the prop position is. It shouldn't matter with the cowl flaps. It shouldn't matter with the generators. But apparently you got to have them on to get it going. So sometimes I forget that a little bit. So fuel's on the main. But in the real aircraft, it doesn't matter. It's just in the modeling they've done here to make sure that you do all the steps for the startup. So generators are on. Boost pumps are now on. We'll turn the mags on. We will energize the left engine. We are at KSPI, and we're flying to KJEF. So Kilo Sierra Papa India to Kilo Juliet Echo Foxtrot. Lemon Wolf, you just watch my my streams. I talk about everything I'm doing as I go through. So we're all energized, so we're going to come over here now and mesh and hit the primer. A little bit of a change in the clouds there. Alright, again, we didn't get a good start. It's fine, everything is up. We'll re-energize. Oh, she's up and running now. Turn that off. Interesting, weird start. Alright, so we got all the engines up and running. Let's, I'll start to see tags come in again. Let's get the windows closed. There's that side, and we are closed on my side. Alright, so we're going to switch over to internal battery. We can take the battery cart away. Avionics are now on. The windshield heat on. And that is all good there. Come over here. We'll leave the boost pumps on until we're on our way. And we come down. No, it looks like the engine quit on me. Alright, so let's try that again. Alright, energizing the left. Not sure why it's giving me a hard time today. The airplane's been sitting down here in Illinois for a week, so that's probably something to do with it. It's mesh and prime. Oh, leave the prime up. There we go. Alright. So while she comes up top, or comes online, we can pop up top. So we're going to be following a couple VORs on this flight. First VOR is the SPI VOR. It's the VOR on the field here in Springfield, and that is a frequency of 112.7. So we'll switch that over and get that in. The second VOR is going to be the Columbia VOR. All right, I'll give a look for you in a second, Flight Hungry. Is 110.2. So we're not flying VFR, but we are using them for guidance, and we can dial 110.2 in here on nav 2 as well. We'll switch that over. So coming up to our communications radios, we're going to go 122.8, which is the VATSIM Unicom, and 121.5, which is the guard channel. And as mentioned, the old ELTs would broadcast on here, and if you're intercepted by the military, that's the channel they will try to get a hold of you. And you also monitor that for emergency messages and stuff like that. Alright, so it looks like both engines are coming up online. RPMs are sitting good, props are up, mixture's up. Fuel levels in tanks are good, and generators are doing their thing, and everything is good. And we'll just come up here. We're going to set our transponder to our Fly UK pilot number 5556, and we will turn that on. And I'm also going to tune in. Let me see if I can find it. There was a NDB, just as a reference, so we can get that up to 382. Oh, there you are. Oh, you're flying a Baron. Nice. So 382 is an NDB nearby. Well, I'm going to dial it in just so that we can see the gauges working for it, and we will we zoom in here. You can see we will turn it on to ADF, and that we should read in which one? Radio compass, Neil, I think. But it won't do it until we're up off the ground. Alright, so here we are. She's all fired up and ready to go. And flying along today is Flight Hungry in his Baron. I think he might be a little bit faster than me as well. Alright, so we can get them to pull the stuff out of the way. Oh, I almost forget. We start rolling when I do that. So brakes are on. We are good. Lights are good. Passing lights not required. Positions bright. And everything is good there. We're good up top. And we are good to go. There we are. Nice looking Baron. So let me quickly grab the wind. Fairly simple wind conditions at the moment. Alright, so KSPI Springfield, Illinois weather information, 27th of September, 18:52 hours, so about 45-50 minutes ago. Winds are 340 at 4 knots, overcast at 2,000 feet. Winds are temperatures 22 degrees. Barrel is 3001, and of course we have 10 miles of visibility. So we're just going to come in here and we'll set the barrel is set and cross-checked, and we are ready to taxi. So we're going to head down to runway 31 for takeoff. So that's behind us. So we're going to swing around, and we're going to go out on Bravo 2 and then taxi down Bravo to runway 31. Alright, brakes are released. Get the power up. Get that tail swung around here on the big bird. There we go. Kevin was having issues with track IR. Not sure what he's doing now. We're going to head over here to Bravo 3. And then we'll go down. Interesting light positions here. This is a generic default airport, so can't rely too much on all the gubbins around here. But, we'll want to get ourselves out. We're going to head down to the end of the runway. While we're doing that, we'll notch in 1 notch of flaps for takeoff. And we're going to come around to the hold point here where we'll do our final checks and get ready to pull out and go. Squeaky brakes, and we'll get the brakes on. I'm just going to quickly send I don't want to pull them back too far. Alright, so back into the cockpit. We are good to go, so we're going to come up top. We'll get on the landing lights. Everything else is set, and we are good to pull out. Alright, so taking position on runway 31. Looks like the approach path is clear. Trim. Right there. There's the trim wheel. So you can go forward and back. It's handy. It's in most aircraft it's down by your right knee. Not all, but in most. Sometimes it's there's the JU-52. It was down under your bum on the right side by the seat that you're sitting on, but it's usually down by your right knee. Trim wheel. In larger aircraft. Smaller ones, they can be all over the place. All right. So we'll bring the engines up to 1,000 RPM. Everything is looking good. Quick look around. We are good. So we're going to do an initial heading of about 246 degrees. I do too. But in here, yeah, in here it's usually the on the gyro pilot that I use, but I've got an electric trim thing as well. Alright, so we're going to bring the engines up to 20%, or 20 inches of manifold pressure, let them stabilize, make sure everything is running very nice. There we go. And the brakes released. And coming up to 40 inches for takeoff. 40 inches set. rudder to control, forward pressure on the yoke to bring the tail up. That reduces drag, allows the aircraft to accelerate slightly bit faster. Airspeed's alive, there's 60 knots, holding the nose down, holding the aircraft on the runway. 70, easing off now, and at 80 knots we'll slowly start to add in a little bit of pressure. And we are up and climbing out. Alright, gear up. There we go. Very nice, gear is up. I'm going to start to trim the aircraft for 110 knots in the climb. Looking good. So quick coming back here, we're going to change the hydraulics over to the gyro pilot, let that come up. There we go. And as we come up through 500 or 600 feet, we're going to bring up the flaps now. Get the aircraft trimmed. And we'll get the gyro pilot turned on. Alright, so gyro pilot is now on. So we're going to try to control the vertical. So we get that under control. Sometimes it can take a minute or two to figure that bit out, get her balanced properly. We're also going to set that heading. We wanted that about 240. Let's quickly get that back. Start that turn. And now that we're up, we can bring the power back to 2,500 RPM and 35 inches of power. Reset 2,500, and that's our climb power settings. Alright, now we're going to come back online, so we're going to dial this right around to about 180 until we cross the line we want. See, there's our VOR needle, and there's our radio compass pointing towards that NDB that we had dialed in. It is, I love it. I still work with aircraft with these types of engines on them, and they're pretty cool. All right, so we're gonna have to watch our climb rate here. We want to be maintaining a speed of about 110 to 115 around that yellow line. So now we start tweaking the rate of climb. And the thing to try to remember is where it sits nicely, so you can kind of reposition these two things, because they work together to get you there. So we're heading due south. That's pointing towards the VOR, but we want to be going on a 246. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here, and we're going to scroll this around to about 246. Then that'll be the rough heading we want to go to. All right, Lemon Wolf. And that will put it about there. climbing out pretty good. We're a little bit slow, so we're going to get that nose down a bit. We don't want to get below 100, that's for sure. So we'll bring her back down to... There we go. Try to get her down to about 500 feet per minute. Dial this around to 246, we may be able to pick up the actual radial as we are getting close to it. We're kind of flying directly towards that non-directional beacon. There we are, we're coming in. So let's make our turn now to 246. Pass through 4,000 feet. My flight time is about an hour and 10 minutes or so, hour 15. There we are, beautiful day now that the clouds are clearing up. And there behind us is the city of Springfield, Illinois. I'm also going up to 10,000 feet. That'll be my cruise altitude. Alright. So the thick needle here is the nav 1, or VOR 1, and it's pointing to the VOR behind us because we're flying away from it. And also it's obviously behind. Number 2 is set up in VOR 2, and that is set for the next one, which is the Columbia on 110.2. So it's not showing yet, but when that does come in and we see the green needle flip over, meaning we're picking it up, we can then come up to the radios and switch over up here and get that lined up. I also have the ILS for runway 30 plugged in, which is the one we're going to be using. So I'm just going to tune it in. We're not doing an ILS approach, but in case we need it, it's there as a guide. So 110.5 is correct, and that is already entered in there in the standby. Oh, there he goes. Flew right past us. So we're going to be crossing, about halfway point, we'll be crossing over the Mississippi. So we'll point that out when we get there. Our power's coming off, so we'll add some power. Get her back up to 35 inches. Make sure the props are settled in at 2,500 RPM. 6,000 feet coming up. We're going to notch down slightly, just to keep that speed above 100 as we do our climb out. So as I say, Mondays, Tuesdays, Fridays, Saturdays are done on VATSIM. If you're not comfortable on VATSIM and you still want to fly along, as I mentioned, Wednesdays and Sundays are done in multiplayer. So you're free to join us for those. Wednesdays are flights like this, old aircraft, just sightseeing flights and hopping around, checking things out, while the flights on Sunday are long hauls. We're currently doing support to the 2023 Formula One season. Last week we flew from Milan in Italy down to Singapore. This weekend we're flying from Singapore to Nagoya in Japan. And we're flying on those flights the 747-8 freighter, which is a pretty cool aircraft. When we run out of those flights on that series, or we have a break where we have a weekend off, we'll be breaking out the Airbus A330, and we'll be flying passenger flights with that all over the Americas, basically, as we'll be based out of Miami for that one. The current schedule, Mondays we are in Japan. We're flying the ATR 72-600, and we're doing a series of flights from the northern tip of Japan to the southern tip of Japan. Tuesdays we are flying around Canada. We're in an old Airbus A320 and Air Canada colors. Currently sitting up in Yellowknife at the moment. The next flight will be taking us down to Edmonton. Wednesdays we're doing this trip, which is visiting the capital cities of all of the lower 48 United States of America. Thursdays is a day off. Fridays we're flying for Satan, which is our American division of Fly UK, and we're currently based out of Denver, Colorado, flying the 737-700. Saturdays we are working on a trip around America, trip around the Atlantic Ocean. We started in the southern tip of South America, flew up along the east coast, up the east coast of North America, through Greenland and Iceland, over to Norway, and we are currently working our way down the western coast of Africa. Our last flight landed in I believe it was I don't think that flight went ahead. I think we're still in Tenerife, but we're heading down to Dakar in Senegal for our next flight. So that's looking good. And of course on Sundays, as I mentioned, there's their F1 and other long haul flights. So we'll be bringing the DC-6 back on Saturdays after the around the Atlantic is done. We'll be breaking out the DC-6 for another series of flights in that one. And that will be flying the Channel livery, Caribou Airlines, and the DC-6 cargo, the DC-6A. Alright, so we're coming up for 9,000 feet. Make a slight adjustment on course, a couple degrees to the right, just to make sure we're staying lined up and heading to where we want to be. Okay, Flight Hungary, thanks for dropping by, and thanks for watching. So we're coming up to 9,200, just getting ready to start leveling off in cruise. Everything is looking really good. We're over looks like a wind farm right now on the charts. It's showing all kinds of wind turbines down there. Should be able to, might be able to see them below. Cruising along. Alright, there's 700 feet, so what we're going to do is we're going to start to level off, let the speed start building up. At 140 knots we will close up or trail the cowl flaps and start getting her into cruise power setting. There we go, there's 10,000 feet. Keep easing that nose down. Again, using the gyro pilot here. There we go. As the speed increases, she'll try to nose up to maintain the speed, so I'm just telling it to go a little bit faster each time. Hopefully keeping her nice and level. Got to keep the passengers in the back comfortable. Alright, still just ticking her forward. Alright, so there's 140 knots, so we're going to go into trail. That will allow the cowl flaps to close a little bit, and it will give us a little bit less drag and allow us to increase our speed. Another notch or two. We're now going to go into cruise power, so I'm going to pull the propellers back to 2,000 RPM. There we go. Give a couple notches down. Get that nose down. Taking a bit of effort to get her there. Alright, and we can bring the power setting back now to 30 inches. And that's my cruise power, 30-20. And we're going to bring the mixture back to auto lean, so that we're only burning the fuel that we need. And there we go, we should be settling in around 165. Start that nose upwards. So we've gotten kind of out of whack here with this thing. There we go. You got to keep that within this, and it could be a bit of a guessing game, but we got her in. I know you're a swimmer, but do you have any tips for a good trip report? What do you mean? I do travel a lot, so I've been around the world. Not sure exactly what you mean there, Flight Hungry, as tips for a trip report. Alright, so we're just cruising over basically farm country right now. And Jacksonville is off to our right. That's the next major town. Jacksonville Municipal Airport's there as well. Ryanair, Wizz. I mean, I haven't flown any of those airlines, or in the sim or in real life. I have not been to Utah. It is on my list of places to visit. I've been over Utah, flown over top of it, but no, I haven't been to Utah. Alright, about 165. We've got a ground speed of 154, and we're about 110 miles to go. So we're not going direct, we're going to the Columbia VOR. Columbia VOR is 13 miles northwest of the airport, and because it was showing some low cloud cover, what I did is I've set up for an ILS assisted approach. So basically we're going to do the ILS from the Columbia VOR and do the teardrop. It might be done visually depending on what the weather is like, but we'll see. In real life, I haven't been to Eastern Europe. I've been through France, Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, and then England, Scotland, and stuff over in that part of the world. Been to a lot of places in the U.S., almost everywhere in Canada. Been to Japan, Alaska. You know, the whole U.S. Eastern Seaboard I'm pretty familiar with. Kind of everything east of the Mississippi River. Try to do more traveling. Let's get our nose up slightly here. We are in a slight descent, so we'll just trim it slightly upwards and get that to climb up. Is that Budapest to Tel Aviv? Well, Flight Hungry, since you bring that up, we one of the perks for membership at the flight crew level is being able to request flights. You'll see that there are some videos that say our viewer requests. Now with the channel membership, it's a perk. You can request it, and I'll fly a route in whatever livery using the airliners, and I'll put it together as a video, and you can see all that stuff. Lemon Wolf, we're in Japan, or Tivat. I think is it Tel Aviv? I don't know. It was a short trip, Lemon Wolf. I wish it had been longer, but we flew into Tokyo. Spent a couple days in Tokyo getting shifted over because it's a 12-hour time difference. From there, we went to Kyoto. Spent 5 days in Kyoto. Gorgeous place. Loved it. It's probably my favorite city I was in. After 5 days in Kyoto, we went down to Hiroshima. Spent a couple days there. Did the sightseeing stuff, of course, the atomic bomb memorial and museum and all that stuff, and then we went over to the island where the big shrine is and everything like that, which is really, really cool. Had a great time there. Then we went into the Sea of Japan side, up north of Tokyo, on the other side of Japan, similar to where we're close to Nagata, where we just landed on the Monday series when we're touring around Japan. And we stayed in a traditional ryokan on the coast, which was great. And from there we headed back to Tokyo. And we did go to Mount Fuji. Didn't climb it, but we did take the bus up to the top, as far as you can get up there, about 2/3 of the way up, and did some sightseeing there with some of the lakes around Mount Fuji and stuff. It was a good trip. I definitely want to go back. And I will. But it was something to see. I am in Canada, flight hungry. I'm basically in the Toronto area in southern Ontario. Albania is very nice. I'd love to go down through Croatia and all that stuff on the Adriatic Sea and see all that stuff. I got friends who's from Hungary. I definitely want to get to Budapest and visit there and all that stuff. So yeah, there's a whole list of things on my list of places to go to, my bucket list, as it were. Alright, so we're still waiting for the needle to kick over, but if we look out here, see the river through the clouds, that's the mighty Mississippi River. That's kind of the divide between the eastern U.S. and I guess central western U.S. Good. Airplane is cruising along nicely above the clouds here. Oh, look who I see. I guess you couldn't get the DC-3 going and wanted something really interesting, so looks like we're going to have company very shortly. That must have been really cool. I'd love to visit Japan someday. Yeah, it was a great trip. I went in 2007. And definitely going to go back. I think the next time I go, we are going to do it on a cruise ship, and we're going to circle the entire country. I didn't get up to the north, Sapporo and all that stuff, and I didn't get further south or down into Okinawa, which I hear is a really cool place to go. So definitely want to go back and spend some time there. I've given my background with the military, and that military history is a big thing for me. And one of my favorite periods is the Shogunate period. So it was cool going to some of the Shogun stuff and some of the Imperial Japan from the 16, 17, and 1800s. It really awesome. Alright, so we're trucking along, still not picking up that VOR. It's gonna go, it's on a Navate, it should, it's a low altitude, low power VOR. Okay, well we'll see what happens when we get there. Well, we're on track, so we're not too bad. Yeah, you can see that, eh? There he is. Trying to catch up. Well, why he's flying that airplane? We got another guy, Wayne, that likes to come by sometimes, and it's been a while, but he's done it twice to me on this series so far. He'll come by in a Spitfire and fly with me in. So that's pretty cool. Let's knock the nose down slightly, keep our speed up. We don't want to be slowing too much. Still got a bit to go. You watched that movie yesterday, The Battle of Britain? Great movie. Oh, what I can do, just to give us a little bit of something in the background, let me see what Roger can find. There we go. I'll turn it off just before we land, but at least it adds something to the background. So again, this is the default Asobo, well, it's made by Airplane Heaven, but it was one of their Classic Legends releases. And then Duckworks has come in and done some mods on it to make it more friendly, more flyable. And I mean, this was the way the way people traveled. I mean, this was I can't remember. I didn't do any interior cabin ones. But this was it. It was low and slow, but it was still better than cars. And don't forget, this was also before the interstates, so there was no fast highways anywhere. It was all slow secondary roads and county roads and stuff. So this was a pretty good way of getting around. Of course, Allegheny Airlines was an actual airline that flew in the late 30s. And this plane went on to fame, of course, as a workhorse of World War II, known as the C-47 in the United States Army Air Corps, or the RD-4 in the U.S. Navy. Flew all over the world. In fact, known as the Dakota in the Commonwealth countries, it flew, one of its big jobs was flying supplies over what they call the Burma Hump in Southeast Asia, where the only way to get stuff across the mountain range reasonably, since there was no roads or anything, was to fly them in these. So they were ducking the Japanese fighters and flying in bad weather and taking them up to 12,000, 13,000 feet over the mountains and then down the other side into small airfields, dropping it off. Pretty cool. Flight Hungry, depends what you want. I don't watch a lot of TV. I do a lot of history and documentaries and stuff. But Netflix has some good stuff on it. Yeah, HBO has some good stuff. Apple has some good stuff. Amazon has some good stuff that I like. So, I mean, there's a few things I think that I wish I could get, which I can't because I'm not going to subscribe to all of them. But yeah, it depends what you want and what you look for. Yeah, flying IFR without the modern tools is tough. I mean, I've done the IFR approaches in a Cessna 172, and that's all hand flying. But yeah, it'd be work in this thing. Have you ever flown Emirates first class? No, and I don't think I ever will at the prices that they want. I've never even flown Emirates. I do want to go to Dubai at some point just for a visit, but definitely won't be first class. Alright, well, we're coming up to the river. You can see it down below. And I can see lights back there now, so it looks like our little friend is getting closer. Just waiting for him to pop up in the chat and say hello. I guess by the time he got his issue sorted out and got loaded in, he figured it'd be better to take a faster airplane. Yeah, I've never flown first class anywhere. I do business class when I can because I appreciate the legroom. I'm 6'2", and I have done long economy flights, but oh man, they are painful. And I'm at the point where if I'm going to go somewhere on a plane for several hours, I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm not trying not to be too jammed in, but yeah, it can be a little bit much. Some of these first class tickets, looking at those prices and stuff. Gonna make a slight turn, see if we can line up better on the next VOR. Whoa, there he goes. Just dove right by the window there. So I'm not sure when we're going to pick up the VOR, but what the plan is, and I'll bring it up so we can take a look. Alright, so here we are crossing over the river. We're just south of our path. Again, it's multiplayer. We're actually VFR, so it's not too big of a deal. We're going to come up to try to get a little bit better on top of it. We're going to fly down here, down towards the Columbia VOR, which is located here. We're then going to go on to the arrival, or the approach for the ILS on runway 30. And the winds are pretty dead at Jefferson. Yeah, they're reported dead calm. Ah, there he is. Hey Kevin, good to see that you finally made it in. So we're going to fly the approach here, just as a reference. So once we're at the Columbia VOR, we're going to turn to heading on 156, coming in from this direction, down towards Jefferson County. There's the airport on the charts located there. So we're going to fly over this way, then we'll then go outbound at 120 degrees. Doing basically a teardrop, descending down, make sure we're down here to 2,000 feet. And then we'll be coming back inbound and then descending down. So it looks like the clouds are lifting, so I'm not too worried about visibility. That's my main concern because it was awfully cloudy, so I figured we set this up to come in. We're going to tune in all these markers. So there's the Algoa NDB, or beacon there. We can use that. That's the official approach fix where we should start down. And then we're also going to tune... That's about all they have there, actually. They don't have any VORs or anything. So we'll just pop up top for a second, and we're going to go and tune in that 397 here. And that's now in our ADF. So this needle here will show it, and what we can do is we can turn this. So runway heading is 300 degrees. All right, Lemon Wolf, thanks for dropping by. Take care. And we can tune on the card here 300 degrees, and it just lets us know we're heading in that direction. So once the airplane is flying 300 degrees, the needle will tell us left or right where we are going. So we'll get rid of that. And let's see where we are. We'll pop back outside. There he is, coming back around. And again, there goes the Mississippi. So I think we've crossed over. I think that is the border, being between Illinois and Missouri, being on the river there. Economy is the same on long haul as short haul. For the most part, the seats are the same. Depending on the airline, some you might on some airlines with the bigger airplanes, A330, 787s, whatever, you may get a few more inches of legroom in economy. Most economy flights on long haul will have meals provided. Short haul, they might not, depending on the airline again. Long haul, you'll have a better entertainment selection and stuff like that. And the prices are different, obviously. A short haul economy is going to be cheaper than a long haul economy. But they're all much cheaper than flying business class or first class or anything like that. So we're working our way back up to the line. I'm going to notch a couple of notches back to the left, just as we start to catch up to our route. But everything is looking good. We can pop down and do our panel check. So manifold pressures are good, RPMs are good, oil pressure is good, fuel pressure is good, and we can come over to. Do we have that side? Or is that it? Oh, there we go. Come over to this side. We can see oil temperature is good for both engines. Cylinder head temperature is good for both engines. Carb air. Let's see, air temperature inside the carburetor. We're in the caution zone. It's about 0 degrees. So we'd have to watch if we had a lot of icing issues with the carbs. We'll listen for the engines running wrong. Hydraulic pressure, landing gear pressures are good. We can come down. Outside air temperature is about 6 degrees. So you can see there's about a 7 degree drop once you get into the carburetor. That's due to physics and air pressure, lower temperature, and all that neat stuff. Hydraulic pressure is good, and we are looking good. So we have plenty of fuel in the auxiliaries if we need it. I don't think we will. We may switch over to them as we get closer for landing, though. We will see. And everything is looking good. So for the next series of flats, this is basically what we're going to have for our view as we enter into the flatter portions of the U.S., the Midwest. No, economy and business have different food. They're very different. The scale of how different they are depend on the airline, but yeah, business class food is like economy class. It looks like a preheated thing with you might get a bun in a package and your drink and everything like that. Business class, it's served on china. You get proper knife and forks, and the food's a lot better. Definitely better up in business class, and then you go into first class, and some of the airlines there, the food there is absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, some meals can surprise you and be pretty good. Some I've had, I'm kind of questioning what they were thinking, but it all depends on the airline. There he is. Kevin forgot I didn't have this airplane. It's in his measure key. The cherishment. So as a programming note, just so everyone is aware, I've got some stuff coming up that may or may not happen, so that may or may not affect my availability over the next couple weeks. But definitely, I will be heading to London, England for several days mid-month. So I will be away then, and I will be heading to Los Angeles on at the beginning of November, so I'll be away for a week there as well. And some other days may drop off the schedule as things happen and other stuff, so we'll see. EasyJet, Ryanair, and Wizz are all low-cost airlines, and you get what you pay for. So people complain about them, but given the cost of aircraft and how they operate, you know, if you want to fly somewhere with minimal baggage or no baggage and you want to do it cheaply, they're fine. They're buses in the sky, right? You get on, you pay 20 pounds, 20 euros, whatever. They'll take you from point A to point B. There you go. If you want extras, if you want to take a bunch of bags, if you want food or whatever, you got to pay for it. That's what it is. I tend not to fly them. I'll fly the major legacy carriers, as they call them. Air Canada over here in Canada, you know, Lufthansa. I've flown on Austrian, things like that, and I have a better experience, but I pay the price for it, right? So it depends what you want, what you can afford. I might have uninstalled it, Kevin. I can't remember. When I went through clearing up space, since I never flew it and you weren't flying it, I still got to migrate all my Orbex to the library to the new drive. So we'll see. They serve food. Well, you know, it's better than nothing. Even some Air Canada flights that I fly, Legacy, if I'm not in the back, or sorry, if I'm in the back and I'm not sitting up in business class, some of those flights, if they're shorter flights, there's no food, like an hour, under 2 hours, I think. They don't give you anything, food-wise. So I bring my own. I've been up to some remote areas in Canada recently. You know, hour and a half flights and Q400s or CRJ 700s or 900s, I guess, with no meal service. So I buy a sub or I get snacks or whatever and bring my own. And of course, on those aircraft, there's not even in-flight entertainment. So just have a book and get a sub or a sandwich. Just sit and read. Look at. I always try to get a window seat. Because I love just sitting looking out the window, and so I'll just sit here and have the meal, look out the window, just enjoy myself. It's all good. All right, so we're about 50 miles out. Kevin's doing aerobatics around us. We're slowly climbed up to 10,500 feet. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch over the fuel tanks here. We're going to go over to the auxiliaries. They got more fuel in them. So we're going to pop down here to our fuel tanks, and we're going to do these one at a time. So very carefully, as not to shut them off, we're going to switch the left over to the left auxiliary tank, and we're going to go to the right auxiliary. There we go. And we're now drawing off the fuller tanks. Now, one thing I noticed when I accidentally shut it off, I quickly put it back on, but it just killed the engine. Not what would happen. You would be able to keep it going. I mean, there's enough that fuel in the system that a momentary interruption like that won't kill the engine. It might make it hiccup slightly, but it won't kill it, because there's still spark with the engine turning and everything. And once the fuel comes back in, she'll just fire off again. Pot noodle. Well, that's a little bit hard because you might need hot water for something like that. I usually go for a sandwich. Sub sandwiches are kind of a big thing over here in North America, so you can usually get something like that to take on board. Even though, because you're buying them at the airport, they're going to be a bit pricier. But it is what it is. Still not getting that second VOR coming up, so that's interesting. We're not that far away. We'll see how much closer we have to get before it kicks in. Sausage roll, yeah, that'd be a good one. Something you can eat cold. If you're into cold pork pies or anything like that. Alright, let's, oh, there he goes again. Start getting us down to that 10,000 feet. We're going to be starting to descend soon anyway. Whoa, there we go. Needle just flipped. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to come up, we're going to switch over on VOR 1, we're going to put the regular one in, and we're going to tune in the ILS on 2. Just hold that there. We're going to put 1105 in there, and that will lock us in. There we go. And we're set to flip that over when we need it. Yeah, potato chips, whatever. I get snacks and I bring them along. Even if I'm flying business class, I bring snacks because sometimes I don't like what they have on board. All depends what my mood is. Alright, final check of the gauges. Temperatures and pressures are all looking good. Fuel is good. We're on the fuller tanks. The full tanks. We're now going to turn and try to line up with our beacon here. Our VOR. Well, the longest flight I've done is 12 and a half hours. So yeah, luckily I was flying business class on that one and snacks were included. We're going to come right around about 240 now. That's when I flew to Japan. So it's 13 miles from the VOR down to the airport, so we want about 35 miles to go, so I think we're going to be starting down in about 10 miles. You won't like the first class food? Oh, love it. Can't afford it, but I love it. Too posh. Well, hey. Sometimes there's nothing like a slice of pizza or a burger. They're all good. Speaking of which, I'm doing pizza for dinner after the flight. Yeah, it's. I do like the fine stuff as well, though, in moderation. All right, so we got about 9 miles till we're starting down. Is looking good. We're more or less heading directly towards the beacon. We can edge slightly this way again. Get that lined up. We're going to dial in 300 degrees here. We're going to ignore the localizer needle. That is runway heading for when we get there. So that's now in. So we'll be using that as our localizer needle. We'll be using that as our initial approach fix beacon. And then we'll have our localizer glide slope over here when we come in. Smudge Lakes Pizza. Molly really likes beef. And she's getting, she didn't eat all her breakfast because she wasn't, she was pretty tired, so I've got a little bit of ground beef I'm going to heat up and pour over top of her leftover morning breakfast. She's in the other room chewing on something right now. Alright, so we're going to start heading down. So what we're going to do is we are going to push down the nose here, get her down to about a 700 foot per minute descent rate. Yeah, she's had cheese a couple times now, likes that. She likes bananas, not too fond of blueberries yet, likes bananas. I'm going to pull the power back to 20 inches. There we go. She likes beef. One of her favorite treats right now is dried beef liver. And then, yeah, loves chicken too. Huge fan of chicken. There's Kevin in beside us, so we're heading down. I'll have to go in and check on that, but yeah, I think I did remove it. Either that or it's the livery thing. You're in a livery I don't have, so it puts you in a Cherokee. We're going down at about 850 feet per minute, heading for the VOR. VOR is now about 15, 17 miles away. Well, if I go to a burger place, pick up a burger and stuff at a drive-thru, I get the chicken strips, the breaded chicken strips, and then usually, as I'm eating, she'll end up getting some of the chicken strips. He likes McDonald's cheeseburgers. The whole burger? Watch the power. Now we got the opposite effect. We got to keep pulling power off. Hey Molly. Hi. Hi. I'm gonna give you your dinner soup. Yeah. Give you dinner soup. I'll be with you in a few minutes. Actually, while I'm descending, I'm just gonna pop out and give her a little something to tide her over. I'll be right back. Really good with being quiet while I do these streams, so there you go. Give her a little something she can nibble on as we're descending down. 8,000 feet. Yeah, watching the power. Don't want her to speed too fast. We don't want to be too high because it takes a little bit to slow this aircraft down. So we've got the town. Oh, it's a rather close pass there. So the town of Columbia is over here. The VOR is here by this little village, and Jefferson County is over here, the capital of Missouri. And we will be going in from there. There you go. 7,000 feet. So circuit height at the airport is going to be 1,600 feet. So we're going to pass overhead the airport, or we're not actually going to the airport, we'll be in front of it, but we'll be close to 2,000. You can see our needle here is pointing to that NDB, or non-directional beacon, we tuned in. Okay, last one, Molly. Okay, and then just lie down. I'll be with you in a minute. Alright, there's that cloud cover, but it's a little bit higher than was forecast, so at least initially. So as we come down, our landing lights are on. We're not going to see anything until we drop the lights, though. Everything else is looking good. All the other lights are up and on. Radios are good. Descending down, we're going to increase that descent rate a little bit. Okay, lie down. Lie down. This is the little town of Fulton. And we're going to be crossing over the Missouri River. Jefferson City is a riverside town. Oh, pesky little 109 flying around me. Okay, lie down. Alright, we'll pull the power back again 20 inches. There we are at the bottom of the clouds now. You can see the river. Alright, so we're going to head directly to that point on the dial. So that's going to be 30, 40, about 50 degrees. So we're going to go down to about a 170 and we'll see where we point. Now that we're through the clouds, we can kind of cut the corner. And we are picking up the VOR. So we're going to switch over. There we go. Of course, as mentioned, we're not heading directly towards the airport. We're heading to the intercept point. Wow, he likes all the dairy. Alright, so we overshot by about a little bit, so we'll come back around. We'll go up to 190 and see how far off we are. It's 5,000 feet. There's the river and the airport. Airport actually sits on this side of the river while the city's on the other side. I'll be with you in a second. Okay, you're gonna have to give me 2 minutes. Okay, just lie down. Lie down and you got your dinner in a few minutes. It's 4,500 feet. So we're not too bad heading inbound. Airport's actually going to be over here. So we're going to level at about 2,000 feet. So 2,000 to go. 14 miles out from the airport, and then we're gonna fly out, do the turnaround, and come in and land. Actually, just looking at things here, probably cut it even more. So if I go to 175, I think what I'm gonna do is just do a straight in on a right downwind. instead of teardropping it. Again, the main reason for putting in the ILS information or having all that there was apparent low clouds they were predicting, but they don't seem to be here much. So there's, I think that's the airport right over there. And we're landing on the longer runway, which kind of runs parallel to the river. Alright, so power is pretty good at 20 inches. It's 3,000 feet. We can bring our descent rate back to about 500 now. That'll help slow us down. Not sure where. Oh, no. I've lost our escort. Alright, see our needles are up. We're reading the glide and the localizer. Slowly coming down. Well over. Start bringing ourselves in for the turn. Come in 500 feet high at 2,000 feet, and that'll give us plenty of time to get ourselves set up. Oh, there he goes. Just had to show he was there. There's us down to 160. Again, we're bringing her down to 2,000. Missouri River is right ahead. So I've removed Rex Seasons in preparation for getting the advanced one up and running, which I have not yet done, but it is coming. Alright, so coming in, we can level off. There's the airport over there. Alright. Autopilot is disconnected. So now over to me. So we're going to level off. We're going to bring the power back up to 30 inches. And we're basically going to follow the river. Nice river approach. Keep the nose down. Everything is looking good. We're basically circling around until we line up. There's the airport and there's the end of the runway. Back lying in the doorway waiting for me. So we're all good. Get that nose down a little bit. Don't want her climbing. Alright, we're just going to follow the river around. The end of the lights there flashing for the airport. Saw the lights change. I think we have some clouds spawn in. we're going to start to go down again. Get ourselves down to 1500. Alright, so gump check. Gas. Gas is on the auxiliaries, which are the fullest tank. U, undercarriage. Gear down. M, mixture auto rich. And P, propellers. Propellers fully forward. Flaps 1. Speed's coming back. 120, flaps 2. Airport in sight. Runway in sight. Traffic off our 11 o'clock. Don't want to get too far below 110 yet, so we'll keep the power up. I think the runway is 6,000 feet? 6,000 feet. And we're 650 feet up. Lining up. We're a little bit low, but that's fine. We're just going to drag it in. Lined up on the runway. Flaps 3. Speed's down below 112, which is our maximum landing flap extension speed. And we're looking good. We're doing this completely visual. We can see the lights there, but kind of ignoring them. Just aiming for our touchdown point. Flaps full. Bring the speed back. We want to touchdown between 85 and 90. About 87 right now, which is fine. Looking good. Looks like my advanced scout has reported back. Mikey, hi. Sorry, we're just about to land here, so kind of concentrating, but thanks for dropping by the stream. Speed's a little fast, 185. We'll come back on the power a little bit. We're going to come down, set her down on the mains. There we go. Power off. Rudder to control and pin the nose. Let the speed come back on its own. We don't want to be using the brakes until we got the tail wheel down. We're going to use the whole runway if we need it. We paid for it. It's there. All right, tail coming back. Tail is down. All right. Get off here. There we go. A little bit of a hesitation there. All right. Get our flaps up as we taxi in. Looking good. So as we come around here, we're going to open the cowl flaps. for engine cooling. And we're just going to park over here at the terminal building, which is not much, but it is what it is. It's just a little municipal airport in the small town, which just happens to be the state capital. So we have some people waiting for us over here. Just park her up right here. Mikey, this is Microsoft Flight Simulator. Alright, we'll bring the engines up to 1,000 RPMs. Hold them. Get the brakes on. There we go. It's like Kevin just murdered my ground crew guy. Very nice. Alright. So windshield heat off, landing lights are off. That is all good. And we can cut the engine. So it's the left engine, or sorry, the right engine, and the left. There we are. Doors open in the back. Get her on the battery cart. And turn off the beacon, turn off the avionics, turn off the position lights. Mags will go off. Boost pumps and generators are off as well. And there we go. Well, welcome to Jefferson County, Missouri, or Jefferson City, Missouri. Capital of the state of Missouri, and we'll be back next week when we fly from here to our next state capital on the list. So hope you've enjoyed. Hope you can join us on another flight during the week or on the weekend, and we will catch you all on the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.